Welcome to Cryptonomics, Principles of Cryptocurrency and Investing. My name's Kurt Robinson. I'll be your gracious host. I'm just here in a park in London soaking up the wonderful, fresh, cool air before departing for Ireland in a couple of days. I wanted to introduce my friend Chris Guida. So the other day we had a discussion. Chris is a smart guy, software developer, long-term Bitcoin enthusiast, and you can be sure that when he says something, he'll probably have a solid case to back it up. So the other day we talked about whether we regret buying Bitcoin or cryptocurrency and what to do if you are in that situation where you bought at the wrong time. We also talk about whether Bitcoin was a pump and dump scheme when it rose up so rapidly in 2017. Thanks so much to all those people sharing these videos and podcasts. Thanks for listening on your favorite podcast app, for pressing like on Facebook, for pressing subscribe on YouTube, and having a great discussion there on Steemit. Thank you so much. Let's get into it.
Lock your wallets, take your profits.
So let's have a look at some questions. Questions for crypto here with Chris Guida. Do you regret investing in cryptocurrencies? I think I know the answer.
not even a little bit.
Yeah.
No
regrets. Yeah. Maybe you regret not selling it at a higher point or something like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to sell everything right at the peak, but
yeah,
we can't all be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did have a very kind of insignificant amount that got sold like at 19,500.
All right.
Yeah, I set up a sell on my exchange.
Yeah.
So, but I should have put like all of it at that level instead of But I mean, you never know like if it's just going to keep going higher.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you scale out, like sell a little bit when it goes up a lot, sell a little bit, and What about this? When in 2013, when I got in, like I started buying first. I bought a little bit, like one Bitcoin when it was like $10. Then later, when it was going up to like $240, I was like, it's going into a bubble, and I bought again, and then forgot about it. And then when it was going up towards $1,000, I was like, it's in a bubble again. I started buying. I bought, all the way up to $900, which is which is silly, but the good thing was, I didn't sell even when it went back down to $300 because I saw the potential in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's something important for people out there. If they bought in towards the top of the bubble, maybe they're thinking, what a fool I was. But if they research deeper into the technology, then they'll realize actually they're onto something good.
Right. Bitcoin just always bubbles up. The cycle seems to be getting a little bit longer. The bubbles are not as
frequent.
Well, they're not as huge as they used to be in relative terms.
Right.
So for instance, in 2013, which you were just talking about, like at the beginning of the year, the price was something like $13. And as you mentioned, at the end of the year, the price was over $1,000. I think it was like maybe December 1st or something like that, where it hit $1,000 or $1,100 or even $1,200 if you were on Mt. Gox. You probably didn't get your money out though. If you, there's this saying that people in Bitcoin say to people who talk about, oh no, like I bought at the peak. It's kind of like, well, if you just wait, a couple years, you'll probably be doing fine. So,
yeah. So you do expect that cycle to continue, that this crazy, the media will get a hold of it again and run it into a hype cycle and everything like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember realizing that Bitcoin had hype cycles like that and just being like, what's going to stop it? Like, as long as more, like sort of true believers, strong hands, discover the technology every hype cycle, then the floor should go higher every hype cycle. So I was like, I can't see what's going to stop this ever, except mass adoption, basically. Except everybody basically has their money in Bitcoin, and it competes with national currencies, like it competes with the dollar and the yen and the euro and all those.
Okay, so I think we got to the bottom of that. We definitely don't regret investing in cryptocurrencies. Here's another question. Was the Bitcoin miracle rise to near $20,000 last Christmas
a pump and dump scheme like we've seen in the stock market many times?
It's a good question, actually, because it's hard to define it.
Yeah, so I don't think it was a conspiracy. There actually are a lot of like actual pump and dump schemes for a lot of the smaller sort of shit coins.
Right, like a scam. Yeah, a literal scam. Yeah.
And you see those all the time. You probably, if you hang out on Telegram, like you probably get invited to like these groups. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you, but like if you're in like a large crypto group, then there will be like pump and dump schemes that like find your username and just invite you into these pump and dump schemes. And
they're open about being pump and dump schemes.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, we're a pump and dump, and we'll totally tell you before we dump. Which obviously they're not going to do that. Obviously you're the product. You're not set up to gain in the situation.
Yeah, it used to happen all the time on BTCE. They had that chat box. They call it like the litter box.
Oh my God!
Everybody was like, I forget. Right. I forget the name of the guy, but they were always like, this guy, he said on Twitter is going to buy it. No, well, that means you're about to sell it. That's you got it the wrong way around.
Exactly. Actually, if you go against what the sort of the buzz is saying, the news or the troll box or whatever it is, you'll probably have a much better time than if you listen to it. So with the troll box on BTCE, I had to just turn it off. Just not. You'll get wrecked if you try to react really quick. That's definitely not the right strategy.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of short-term noise out there.
So was it a pump and dump? I don't think it was. I don't think it was a coordinated pump and dump. I think it's part of Bitcoin's natural hype cycle that we were talking about earlier. Basically,
so it's a bunch of factors: the media and new people coming in and getting excited.
Right. I think probably what happens is the price is low for a while, and then sort of newcomers start coming in and start buying a little bit, and then the price starts going up a little bit. And then some of the people who bought are in the media, and they tell all their friends, and they publish articles, and they're all excited about it because they are holding Bitcoin and they would like to see it go up. And so they start to just flood the media channels with all of this positive sentiment. And then of course that spreads, and other people hear the positive sentiment, they start buying, the price keeps going up faster and faster and faster. Eventually, there's the market is so top heavy. It's so basically, there's so many weak hands in the market compared to strong hands that it's just unsustainable. It has to crash. So basically everybody at that like 90% of the market is just waiting for the signal to sell. And then, some whale sells, and then everybody goes, okay, that's it. And then everybody sells.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a thing I've heard about. I guess it's a part of technical analysis. There's a signal that they call putting on the boosters, which is where a price gets to very close to its peak, and then suddenly it jumps. So it's been climbing for a while, and then suddenly, an extra 20 or 50% in a day. And that's normally the stage, according to some analysts, where it's reaching the top. Yeah. So it seems like there's some market manipulation that's a part of it. It's almost like the exchanges or it's some big money holders know to send these signals to each other so they can communicate through the market. Yeah,
one of the biggest advantages of a totally free market is that the signals are honest, basically. Or at least on aggregate, the signals are honest. You might have an exchange. So if you're an exchange operator and you get caught, manipulating the market, then you can get sued and you can go to jail. But if there's probably plenty of ways that exchanges can sort of manipulate the market to their own gain without getting caught.
Yeah.
So I would assume that all of the exchanges are, at least, employing strategies so that they won't lose more money than they could.
Well, another angle would be about Tether. So people were saying that what Tether was doing was using their own money that they were creating, these Tether tokens, to buy Bitcoin, and then the price would go up. So it's like they're basically pumping up the price, and then they would sell it, and then they'd use it to buy back their own tokens, or use it to buy US dollars so they could actually fill their vaults. And so it works up into this crazy cycle.
Right. I'm sure there's funny business going on pretty much all of the exchanges, but I think it kind of averages out. So I'm not concerned about it, and I don't think when you lose a bunch of money in a big bubble, when it pops like that, it's easy to be angry and try to point the finger at somebody. But this is how it works. I mean, Bitcoin is a roller coaster, and everybody knows that Bitcoin is a roller coaster. And if you lose a bunch of money, I mean, you're playing with fire. Yeah, exactly. In my view, the best way to learn how to trade is to just do it and don't risk very much money. And then right. As you feel like you're getting more and more comfortable with it, put more and more money in. But you kind of have to lose money in order to learn how not to lose money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But don't go all in when it's bubbling up. Don't go all in. Just go part of the way in. Go, like small amount.
Yeah, stick your toe in the water.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for listening to Cryptonomics. Remember, you can leave some comments on the Steemit thread. We'll really appreciate that, especially if you have some burning questions that you want answered. And thank you for pressing subscribe on YouTube, and for pressing like on Facebook, and for listening in your favorite podcasting app, and for sharing this around to all your friends if you enjoyed it. And remember, stay grateful.